What's up, you guys? Vinny Vendetta here, and welcome to another Summoner's War video. Today we start episode 1, the basics of our new series, Zero to Hero Raids Edition, where we start from scratch and we build all the way up to an R5 team. We're going to do it in episodes, guys, so this is episode 1. We're just going to cover the very basics of raids, and then as we move on, we'll start to cover cleansers and frontliners and damage dealers and you name it. We'll cover everything. I'm going to build a team along specifically for this series. It's going to be a very easy team. I call it my no excuses team, and we'll show that here in just a few minutes. So anybody that watches this series, no matter where you're at, no matter what kind of monsters you have, you will be able to build this team. And if we make it to R5 in the series and we're farming it, then guess what? You will be too, because nobody's getting lost. We're going to take this one step at a time, and we'll get there in the end. So just a little introduction of the series, guys. With that said, let's get started on episode 1. So in episode 1, we're going to cover the basics, and we're going to start that by going over the mechanics of the boss. So I'm going to open this up just to put in the background while I talk about it. These are his abilities here, and so let's just go through them. The first one is Breath of Doom. This ability will attack everybody, and it will decrease their attack, it will decrease their speed, and it will put Oblivion on them. And Oblivion is the debuff, guys, that disables their passives. So very annoying skill. When everybody's slowed and they can't do damage, then it's just a recipe for disaster. Your healers won't get the heals off, your damage dealers won't be able to push the boss into the next phase. So it's very important that we bring cleansers for this to get rid of those debuffs and keep our team functioning as we want it to. The next ability is Crush of Doom, where he just attacks the frontliners and deals more damage depending on their defense. If their defense is lower, the ability will do more damage. Kind of a basic defense mechanic, right, guys? I don't know why they really had to type that out, but just attacks the front line, so we'll put tanky people on our front line to deal with that. And we'll get into what front line and back line is and what monsters need to go where here in just a minute. Rageful War is the next ability. This is one of the more annoying abilities of the fight, and it's kind of what makes the fight unique. The boss has a counter, and it stacks up to 16 times. So every time one of your monsters gets a turn, then it will add a counter to the stack. And so even if your monster's stunned and they take a turn just recovering from the stun, it still counts toward the counter, guys. And what this does is, when the counter stacks up to 16, when your monsters have taken 16 turns, then the boss is going to remove all of your beneficial effects, and then he's going to stun you. And most of the time, he's gonna stun your whole team. And what that means is, by the time you even get a chance to move again, the boss is already at 6 stacks, because you have 6 monsters and they all took a turn just coming out of the stun. So what we do to counter that is we bring a lot of resistance, especially for our cleansers, and hopefully we get to cleanse all that off so that we can move without wasting turns to the stun. Not only that, whenever it removes beneficial effects, it also recovers HP in proportion to the amount that it removes. So if you have a lot of beneficial effects on your team, say you have immunity and a defense buff and attack buff, and the boss uses Rageful War, he's going to heal up a ton. So that means we need the heal block debuff on the boss as much as possible, so that he's not healing when that ability comes around. The next move is Total Annihilation, and that is where the boss jumps up in the air, breathes down a bunch of fire, and does a shit ton of damage to your whole team. And he does that at every 25% health that he's lost. So at 75% health, 50%, and 25% health, he's going to do this. And when he does this, he removes all harmful effects that are on him, and he becomes stronger. As the fight goes on, he becomes progressively stronger, so you need to be careful about making the fight last too long. If you bring too many healers and not enough damage, then you could end up killing yourself by being too safe. So those are the abilities that we have to deal with, guys, and we do that by bringing a certain set of skills with our monsters. And the first thing that we need to go over is the debuffs that we need to bring with our monsters. So there's 6 debuffs that we need to keep up on the boss. 3 of them you need to keep up at all times. The other 3 you need to keep up, but it's not going to cause you a loss if you don't get them up right away. So in order of importance, we have the attack break, then we have the heal block, then we have the slow, then we have defense break, then we have glancing hit, and then we have branding. So attack break has to be on, guys. In the early raids, it's not as important if you miss one, but in raid 4, raid 5 especially, if you don't get the attack break on right away and the boss gets a turn, he's going to kill some of your people, and that's going to be it for you. There's no coming back from that. So attack break is the first and foremost most important. We want a lot of monsters to have attack break so that we can keep it on the boss at all times. The next ability, or I'm sorry, the next debuff is the heal block. Because as we said, when the boss removes those beneficial effects that you guys have on, he's going to heal. And he's going to heal for a lot depending on how many harmful effects are there. So keeping the heal block up on the boss really prevents him from being able to heal himself. It prevents him from taking away all the work you did pushing him into the next phase and doing all that damage, surviving for as long as you did. It prevents him from healing up and taking away all that work. So definitely have to keep that on there, otherwise the fight's going to last too long and you'll end up dying because the boss just gets too strong and he ends up one-shotting the whole time. So heal block, second most important. The third most important debuff is the slow, for obvious reasons. You guys want to go as many times as possible in between the boss moving, so keeping him from moving as fast as possible is, I mean, common sense, guys. Next ability is defense break, again for obvious reasons, number 4th on the list. And we want to keep the defense break on so we do enough damage to push him into the next phase. We don't want the fight lasting too long, like we said, because the boss gets stronger. The buff after that is glancing hit, which is a nice buff. Some move it up a little bit higher, but to me, as long as you have the attack break, your team is going to survive. The glancing hit helps prevent the boss from critting, and it helps prevent the boss from applying those harmful effects on your team, like the stuns and the attack slow and the attack break and the oblivion. So definitely a strong skill to bring. If you can bring it in your team, definitely do it. Somebody should have it within the 3 teams that go in, and definitely a good skill. So, but not necessary, not 100% necessary. It'll be okay if you don't get it on right away. And the last debuff, guys, is branding. Just increases the amount of damage you guys do to the boss. And it's a good buff, but definitely not 100% necessary. But if you guys got it, if you have the monster and it fits the rules that you need, by all means bring it. It'll make the runs faster, and faster is safer. So, with that said, those are all the debuffs that we need to bring onto the boss. I put a chart together, made it specifically for you guys in this video so that you can, if you have an idea of a team that you want to use but you're not sure if they meet up all the requirements, I put it together, we'll take a look at it, and it'll let you know whether or not your team is up to par with what the requirements that you need for the fight. So let's take a look at that. Okay guys, here's the chart. We'll start with the bottom of it, the requirements. These are the things that you're going to want to meet with your team, okay? You guys are going to want 2 to 4 healers, 1 to 2 cleansers, 2 to 3 tanks, 2 to 3 attack breakers, 1 to 2 heal blocks, 1 to 2 slows, and 1 to 2 defense breaks. And that's within the 6 monsters that you bring into the raid. So the monsters that you bring have to be really utility dense. They can't just be somebody's there that's just because they're tanky. They have to bring some other utility to the fight. And so the way this chart works, guys, is we're going to take a look at the top 6 monsters from Konamiya to Ardella. This is the team that I'm going to be building for the series. And as we go through each episode, as we go through the cleanser episode, I'll have Konamiya and Lulu built, and we'll talk about them and rune them and their stat requirements, just so you guys know. But the way this chart works is you just plug in your monster and you go across the top and you see what they have to offer you. So Konamiya here, he has an AoE heal, he has a cleanse, and then he can possibly be a tank if we meet the rune requirements. If we make him tanky enough, he could put him in front lines, but I'd rather have him in the back lines. So he can tank possibly, but I think we're going to put him in the back lines. And then he has an attack bar increase where he gives somebody another turn with his research, and he has an attack buff as well, so we get those kind of extra goodies there. Lulu is the Water Howl. She's an AoE healer, she's a solo healer, and she's a cleanser. And she's a solo cleanser and an AoE cleanser with 2 of her abilities. So she has good utility there. I don't really want to 6-star her just for the sake of the series. I'm hoping by the time we get to that point, I can take Lulu out and put Zhongfei, the Fire Panda, in. because we only really need one cleanser, guys, if we can meet the rune requirements. But we'll get more into that later. I'm just hoping that when we do get there, Zhongfei will be replacing Lulu. And Zhongfei is a 5-star, guys, but he's fusible, and if you're at this point in the game, you should have him fused or be close to fusing him by now. The next monster is Rakaja the Wind Yeti, another 2-star. He has a 48% heal AoE, and that's on a 3-turn cooldown, so it's very strong. The downside to it is if people start dying, then it will decrease by about 12% per death, so the heal gets worse as people start to die. But if everybody's alive, it's a 48% heal. Hopefully it keeps them alive. So we're going to use him as a tank in the front lines, and then he also provides a slow debuff on the boss with his first skill. Our next monster is Colin, the Fire Harbou. She has an AoE heal. It's not a smart heal, it's a dumb heal. She'll use it if everybody's at full HP just to get the attack buff on. And then she also provides an attack break on first skill, which is very important. She provides a heal block with her second skill, and then she gets the little bonus check mark there at the end because of her attack buff that she gives the party. And then we have Darien, the Vagabond, also farmable, guys, from Secret Dungeon. On Sundays, he's going to be our tank, and he provides attack break with his second skill and defense break with his first skill. He does have a passive that decreases the damage that we take, the party takes, excluding himself. But when the boss uses Breath of Doom and puts the Oblivion on him, it's not going to take effect. But as long as our cleansers are up to par and they're keeping the raid cleanse, then we will get that damage reduction from Darien as well. The last monster, Ardella, the Wind Magical Archer. I chose her, guys, because she has an attack break on her first skill, and she does a lot of damage based on speed. Damage dealers that are based on speed are really good because they get to take multiple turns, they get to keep the debuffs on, as well as doing massive damaging. That's something that we want to do, because not only do we want to farm Raid 4 and Raid 5, we want to farm it fast. And then we have Bella and Zhongfei on there, but those are just kind of bonus additions because I know everybody has Bella built, and I'm hoping to put Zhongfei in the main list. But for the meantime, let's just look at the top 6 monsters, the team that we're going to be building. We have 4 AoE healers, 1 solo healer, 2 cleansers, 2 tanks, 3 attack breaks, 1 heal block, 1 slow, 1 defense break. Now, the one thing that those top 6 are lacking is the leader skill. We don't really have a good one. In fact, the only one we have is Ardella's, which is a 35% attack boost for wind monsters. I would rather put Zhongfei in there and get that 33% defense buff, which is critical. It's huge. It's huge, guys. Look at this buff. It's huge. So, yeah, I'm hoping we'll get Zhongfei in there and replace Lulu, but we'll see when the time comes. So if you guys, I call this the no excuses team because anybody can get these 2 and 3 star monsters, anybody can build them. Disclaimer is that they will have a high rune requirement because they are nat 2 and 3 star monsters. Their HP is going to be lower, their defense is going to be lower, so we have to make up for that in substats. But I won't be using runes that are already grindstoned and enchanted because I feel like that's cheating. I mean, obviously you see people do like giant or dragon speed 10 runs. You can do it with farmable monsters, but then they all have runes that they got from farming dragon speed 10, so it's counterintuitive. We're not going to use runes that are already grindstone and enchanted, but it will be a high rune requirement. They're going to need decent subs, and like I said, guys, if you're doing raids, you need to already be farming giant speed 10, dragon speed 10, and necro speed 10. So with that said, you plug in your monsters, guys, and then look at the chart at the bottom. If you meet the requirements, then you can bring your team. You can still follow along with the videos, and we'll get in depth on each one and what kind of stat requirements they need and so on and so forth. So hopefully you guys have nat 4s and nat 5s that can replace some of these nat 2 monsters, but for the sake of the series, I'm going to be building them, and we're going to do it. If I can clear raid 5 with these guys, you can too. No excuses. This is my no excuses team. So disclaimer, guys, this isn't for beginning players to the game. This is for beginning players to raids. So by this point, you guys should already be farming Dragons B10, you should already be farming Giants B10 and Necro B10. You should be having quite a few 6 stars already ready to go, and have a good rune set, mostly 5 and 6 star runes that you farmed. Raids are not an easy thing, guys, and it's meant for endgame play, so you need to be farming those dungeons, and you need to be up to par with your runes so that you can be doing this. But if you're at this point in the game, then you should have it already. but just a disclaimer, it's not for beginning players, it's for beginning raiders, okay? I think that just about covers it, guys. So again, as a recap, I want to reiterate that this is going to be a step-by-step guide. We're going to do it together. If you're watching these videos, I'm going to be building the team as the episodes go along. The next episode, just a little spoiler for you guys, is going to be cleansers. So I'm going to build my Konamiya, I'm going to build the Lulu, and we're going to put runes on them. We'll talk about the stats that they need, what kind of rune sets work well on them. And I'm actually going to be using those monsters, guys. So they're natural 2-star monsters. If I can use them, you guys can use them. They're easily farmable. And that's the whole idea of this series, is to get from R1 to R5 and then making R5 faster from 0 to hero, guys. We're going to start at the bottom and go to the top. And I want to take you guys with me step by step. We're not going to leave anything out. So if you have questions, we can answer them along the way. And we'll get there together, guys, because I know a lot of people are still struggling with raids, and I know there's a lot of in-depth guides out there, but a lot of people don't necessarily do the research or understand the research because they don't have their specific monsters in there. But we're going to go step by step. We're going to make sure you have everything you need, and we're going to get R5 clear by the end of the series. So I hope you guys like it. I hope you stay tuned. If you have more suggestions, or if you want me to change some things up or have some ideas, let me know in the comments below or send me an email. I'd be happy to. I'm always listening to you guys. I'm posting on Reddit, trying to figure out what you guys want to see, what kind of direction you want the channel to go in this series. So let me know, and I'm happy to accommodate those needs of you guys and make this content that you guys want to watch. So I appreciate it, guys, for stopping by, watching the video, sticking through this. I know this was a little bit longer, but this is the intro to the series. Next one will be on Cleansers, episode 2, and look forward to that in a couple days. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.